On.
recording. So talking about moving from a demographic to an aspiration line from a marketing stand, it's, look at the skills and the skill stack that you have. Barrett Value Center, leaders that are committed to not just leading based on their values, but also fostering a culture of
Mm,
value-based organization. That's
right.
one aspiration. But that doesn't have to be business leaders. That could be nonprofit, that could be families, that could be whatever. So that's an
Mm,
aspiration line about leading with values. The
mm-hmm.
second one, executive coaching, there's something in there, but generally coaching is about helping people tap into their own inner wisdom and you facilitating that. So there's
Mm-hmm.
that piece. There's also the healing touch, which is about the power of personal connection, but also the awareness of our energetic capacity. You can
Mm-hmm.
street level a lot of that stuff. You could give people ways to understand how to get along better. So, and then there's the heart math work, which is really around, on the practical side, it's about intelligent energy management and emotional self-regulation.
Mm-hmm.
And so just by the description of those things, if you do some lock-ins and you lean into those and you just like put the header at the top of this, just pour out what comes out,
Mm,
you'll see this beautiful fusion that's not about an aspiration line or conscious business. It's about, here's who I serve, here's how I serve them. And the operational model that worked really well for me was this simple ABC framework, which is your elevator pitch, which is I help A, which is who you help.
mm-hmm.
In your case, um, let me just tune in for a second and just say, like, let's just say um, leaders committed to living from a greater place of their values and relationship. So
Mm,
let's just say I help A, who you help, leaders that are committed to living from values and relationship as a priority, to B, which is how you help them, to understand the importance and the art of energy management and self-regulation. So I help A to B so they can see, which is
mm,
what they get. And the
right.
C is, they tune into that energy management, self-regulation so that they can um, have a profound impact in the cultures or communities they're serving, um, that's aligned with their integrity and their desired, the
Back to
difference
the
they want to make,
values.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, it's a framework where you just, if
Mm,
you can get that down to where you say, this is it, people are like, do you have a
mm,
card? Is generally the response, because
right.
it's not trying to like explain all five of those things in one deal. It's an
Yeah.
aggregate.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
was helpful and gets you
Yeah.
stirred up to have some fun with it, because you got a chemistry set of badassery that I'm really inviting you to play with, right? To make some
Yeah.
explosions, try some shit out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, does
Yeah.
that help? Is that
I,
useful?
yeah, absolutely. Because I've kind of been mulling with I know I'm toying around stuff. I haven't actually 100%. I merged them kinda, but I haven't 100% merged and purged. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like I've thought years ago of when I did executive coaching, ooh, healing touch and executive coaching, and put them through a mind clearing and then do a coaching. But they were two very separate, together side by side, but not like this.
Yeah.
Which I'm hearing you say this versus
Yeah, well, I mean,
yeah,
both and, right? It's fine.
yeah,
You can do any of them a la
yeah.
carte, but together they're even more important. So, and then
Hmm.
modulation, right? It's about saying, how do you know, so HeartMath is a great bridge because it's
Hmm.
got all this practical, tactical, science-proven stuff that opens up the possibility and helps you bring in the energy work that
Hmm.
otherwise, without that bridge, would probably be too big of a jump between
Yep,
executive coaching. So you
absolutely.
just like, what are this is Legos, man. You're just, all you're doing is just connecting
It's
some
true.
parts and building some stuff, and you tear it apart and build it again. But anyway, some of it's, I'm just on a tear and the coffee's running heavy through me right now. So I want to
Thank you.
pause. Yeah.
Thank you. You can let that coffee run anytime you want, man. And I didn't really mean for this to be like a self-centered coaching opportunity for myself. So I thank you with gratitude on giving me that gift.
Well, let me ask you
Versus how
this.
can I help you?
Well, let me ask you this is too, because every time something cool happens like this, I think to myself, how do you get really generous with that, right? So it could
Mm,
be that, just say, for instance, if you're on Friday's call with the Connected Community or the community development team, if you're able to, or at any point, or even in the hub, to just say, like I had this, whatever was useful, there's a way to be able to say, here's where that, here's where the challenge that came up in the conversation really helped me. And the question becomes, how can we have this conversation with the whole team?
Yeah,
What can we
nice.
learn from this that would be useful to broaden out, to dig into, if there was any particular piece or whatever? So there's no specific ask in it. It's just saying that every time I serve one, I think, how might that serve the many? Because it's not just what I shared, it's what happened with us together,
Right.
you know? So, so yeah.
Hmm. Cool.
So, so I would say in the last, 5, we have, I loved our time. There was part of it that I didn't have anything else. What was, yeah, I just wanted to say, look, you went away to get the work done. I totally understand that. I might suggest that the greatest path to build that is to invest some time in community because of
Yeah.
this collaborative elevation that can happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether it's this community or something else, I'm not attached. I'd love for you to
Yeah. Yeah.
shine your light in here, but that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest surprise about my success came from um, serving community. All my
Mm.
clients came out of that. So that path that I shared with you gave you a sense of my path. Doesn't mean it's your path, but you could
Hmm.
probably connect to the Barrett community and new possibilities that happen there. Connect with the coaching
Yeah.
community, right? So that's I think that's really the whole point, is that I have no attachments to where you play within the community or whatever, but I can see you got some really beautiful gifts to share and skills to share. And it could be that there's an introduction to um, helping, teams, like an introduction to helping people find their values. The personal value assessment
Mm.
by Barrett,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
lean on that shit all the time. I use that with every coaching client I do. I have them take that. I have them send me the results. I also have them do the Strength Finders test. I send the results. It's interesting. It's not everything, but it gets
Yeah.
us in the neighborhood, right?
Right.
So that could be like, you could do a training on the free version of the Barrett Value Center and an introduction to the bigger thing. And you'd probably not only have more people that wanted to either work with you personally, collaborate with you in business as a piece that you can bring that no one else can bring.
Mm.
So I want to do
Yeah.
more showcasing and more,
Right.
inspire people to be generous with their gifts. So this is a buffet dinner, friend. You take what you like and leave what you
Right.
don't, and you
Pick
tell
it
me
back.
what serves, right? And we'll
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
from there. But I'm
Yeah.
just happy that you're back on the grid. And one question before we leave, and I'll be
Yeah.
happy to spend a minute or two over to just say, um, you know, since you've come back in and been on a couple calls or in a couple groups,
Mm.
what have you noticed that's been cool or generative about your participation with anything that started these 7-8 months ago before you went
Mm.
away and came back? Like, what have you noticed about what's been created?
Oh, wow. There's been a huge evolution. Like from where you started with the group and it was, in the messy stage. It's the messy has actually morphed into nice pockets of some really cool work that I see, like with Poppy in the uplift circles, and how far she's come from when I first talked to her. It was like, wow, night and day.
Wow.
Um, Even the coherence response team, which I do still play with them every other week, that one I can get in pretty regularly. Where that's evolved to where Jill has done like a script and really kind of helped give it structure with the free flow. We put together a one pager, so when you send out an invite, people kind of like. I had a situation where a healing touch person, there was a suicide in her husband's family and they were really struggling. So I said, hey, you're welcome to come. They were on the West Coast. We had to quick do a one pager, to get out so you can explain this to someone who you can't talk to. Right. So, yeah. So, I mean, things have just totally started to mold and ebb and flow. And then this business community that you're trying to get to, it's like there's lots of energy for that. And I can see that thing just really, I think that's what people are the most hungry for, is how do you take heart math and not only live it for yourself, how do you share it, and then make some money to feed your kids while you're doing it too? Because we're so heart centric and service focused, sometimes I think that energetic the energy of currency can get in the way.
The
So,
energy of currency. That's really cool. Two words for the same thing and a really neat twist on that.
mm,
The energy of currency and get in the way.
yeah.
So with just a real quick reflection is thank you so much for sharing that. And we love that you've had that chance with both, both teams that you've been a part of to see that. And that's part of what we're saying. Like it started working so well that I realized, man, what's the most generous thing I can do is to say, look, how can we deconstruct this thing to say, what is it that's making it work?
Mm,
And so
mhm.
this distinction between, the energetics, the heart qualities, but also the mechanics, the structure. What is it that we're doing in these calls that makes
Right.
it work? And did you even notice that there's a way I open the call that's a structural thing? It's something I always do, and it creates a particular energetic, right? So
Yeah.
it's Donna said it really well. That the mechanics give way to the energetics,
Right.
and so starting to really say, look, let's distinguish this together, and then we can all use it in our own life in different ways. It's
Hmm.
just that's kind of the messy stage we're in. But my point is that I would encourage one thing to say, take heart now, how to live it yourself, how to share it. There's an intersection there of how do you use it
Mm,
to define and build your business. Like,
right.
so when you sit down to do a marketing thing, are you here with like all the tactics you've learned in the
Hmm.
past? Or are you doing a lock-in and then a freeze frame around? Like,
Yeah.
are we eating our own cooking kind of stuff?
Yeah. Yeah. Not enough.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that too. I've did a lot with this team, and then I realized, dude, I'm barely bringing the practices in. We
Mm,
need to
mhm.
always, always, always do a lock-in, but let's do, a freeze frame before we go into the breakout room. Like let's
Mhm.
let's practice coherent communication while in the breakout room. So that fusion is the new art
Yeah.
that I'm really excited about. So I'd
Yeah.
love to just invite you, in and or to collaborate in any way you want. I have no
Mhm.
expectation, and this is, I could say that every connection is unique and special, and every person in the community brings something different. And um, uh, there's a commonality, there's an energetic alignment of the people in this community
Mhm.
that is different than any other community I've seen because we have skills to use together and we have a common language and we have a common practice. And so there are folks like Judith who just enrolled 8 people as volunteers from around the world into her nonprofit model that none of them are getting paid, but they just want to be part of something.
Mm,
So
mhm.
all it takes is a juicy idea that people can wrangle around. And that's
Yeah.
what I see you coming into is there's some fusion of these things into like,
Yeah.
you know, values, heart values based, leadership, whatever that
Mm,
is.
mhm.
Um, so it's a different call into what's next for you,
Yeah.
and just know that a lot of it gets done through getting in these environments with people, not just on calls where there's a topic, but in these like laboratory calls where we're
Mm,
really creating it together.
mhm.
But
Mhm.
I think that you could say, I want to learn this, and it's not a team that currently exists. And I'll bet you'd have 10 people that said, I'll learn that with you. And then
Right.
I could pop in, we could have other subject matter experts come in.
Mm,
You could say, I want to focus on this in the business collaboration team, and then a pop out group happens from
mhm.
that. Um, so, you know,
Yeah.
there's so many places we could go.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to be back in your life, to have you back, and to have had time to have a deep heart connection and share the
Yeah.
journey and learn about you. And I will ask you, which is a coaching best practice for me, is just where are you left at the end of the call?
Right.
What was useful? What was generative? What can you not unknow now that you might put into play in your life as a result of our connection?
I love that question. What can you not unknow? I'm stealing that
There's the
question.
not, there's the not again, right? So see if you
Yeah.
can do it without the not, right? So yeah, what is unknowable? Like, wait, no, that's it. Anyway, you get it.
Right. Yeah.
Plus it's on the recording, so you can figure it out. So where were you left? What was useful or fun?
Oh God, the whole call was useful, Steve. Not gonna lie. Um, you know what? I think I love the. I mean, so much about. Yeah, honestly, I can't even really pick one thing. I loved hearing your story and um, where your journey has taken you. That just, and I need to digest because there's little nuggets in there that I'm going to steal. The network one, absolutely. And I'm just trying to get myself to take a step back versus hanging in the details, which I don't normally like, but they're getting in my way, like not getting in my way, but I just want to take that.
They're still on your dashboard and you want to keep them there. So don't
Yeah.
worry, just tune into whatever, yeah. There's no right way to answer the question.
But it's a great question. I mean, okay, so what I cannot unknow. I think it's the concept of the fusion, of just how we fuse. Oh, just get out of the way to let things fuse. You know.
What's funny is that fusion was in my heart before you even said it, which was probably your broadcast, because we're still connected, right?
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, why do I think she's going to say fusion? And then
That's
you did.
funny.
And I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. Because that's what I was left with. That was my biggest one, is like, man, I'm just seeing we need to talk more. There's lots of space around.
Lots of space. Yeah. And like you say, and like wherever it goes, like let the chaos of the universe do its magic. There needs to be chaos before there's sense of it all. So yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, that when you talk about fusion, and what comes to me is just jazz, like it's all improv, but it's all guided, and it's all, like there's that beautiful piece of that, loose, tight structure that, and so what I was left with out of this that I appreciated most was that, as well as to say, how do we bring that in as a conversation? How do we spread that out and allow people to see more clearly, or to disrupt or activate, like we did today with just pointing at these 5 things that could look like how these building blocks fit together, to just give people a greater sense of ease with it, to come up with some practices together of like how we start to see how they fit. And it's a natural skill set of mine in my coaching. That's like, I can get on the phone, and if we had 15 minutes, we could have a dialogue that would have, through the way that I would engage, that would have you get really, really clear of the elements that would have to be in your customized program. And you'd be left with 12 things, and you'd be like, shit, that's my program. Now I just have to go build it. Right. And that's something I'd like to share with the team too, because it's something I've only done with clients. And so like every time I turn around, I was like, oh, I should really share that too. Oh, I should really share that too.
I think you should. I know I will be there. And I'm
Thank
sorry,
you so much.
I cannot be on the call on Friday. I've got a conflict, but it's in my calendar. I'll get there.
I know you will. And just know that there's an invitation, especially with whatever comes out of this call, to just share it with people you talk with whatever, and also to share that, like if you want to be a voice for, like, let's all talk about some of these things. Just bring it up, put it in the hub, ask the question, or I had this chat with Steve and he inspired me about this, and I thought maybe we could all talk. Is that interesting to you? And if there's energy on it, then we'll create a call about whatever, positioning or skill stacking or fusion or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That was fun. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that again sometime soon.
Yeah. Thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. It's lovely to connect with you. I appreciate getting to know you on a much deeper connected level.
I feel that too. Thank you, my friend.
Okay, thanks.
Really appreciate you. Have a great night and a nice weekend. And we'll catch you soon. If we don't talk for a couple of weeks, reach out and let's get back on the books. This was really rich, and I'd like to parlay this into the community. Okay.
Beautiful. We'll do it. Thanks.
If you think about it and you're willing, just to remind me, just shoot me a link to the replay if you do have an option. If it's not a link and it's on your desktop, don't go through extra steps for it. It's totally cool. It was meant for you. This was
no worries. I will send it to you.
All right. Okay. Talk soon.
Thanks. Bye.